Good evening. Today I'll be talking to you about behavioral disorders in the classroom. Behavioral disorders are real. They exist just about everywhere you go in every type of setting that you'll be in. Now, you may or may not know, depending on whether it's diagnosed in an older person or undiagnosed in a smaller child who's just starting out in school. So recently I actually read a case study about William Billy Stark. I'll give you kind of a brief overview of what this article was about. He was the one that everybody knew about. He was labeled, the one that was labeled. Everyone knew about him. He didn't even have a chance to step in the classroom before he was already being labeled as the outcast or the troublemaker. His appearance did pretty much tell it all. He was very thin, he had his hair gelled back, and he reeked of cigarette smoke. He liked to break the school rules and defy all authority. He was well below his grade level, and that, along with his behavior, kind of set him on a path to have somewhat of a support system in the classroom. Now, it was going to be a combination of different departments, such as the school counselors, special ed teachers, possibly tutors would be there along to help the way, and also his father would be having meetings with the principal, the teacher, on a monthly basis. So on the first day of school, it really was no surprise when Billy was already in trouble. They kind of expected this. Mr. Banta, his teacher, wanted to control his behavior in the classroom rather than outside of it, which is all good and fine, except for the fact that there was a whole classroom filled with students who were behaving, cooperating, and eager to learn. This is where I believe that the school may have been a little bit too lenient in this situation. Now, I'm not saying by any means send every kid who disrupts or acts up in the classroom out of the classroom to the office for someone else to deal with. But when a child is throwing tantrums or throwing objects and disrupting others day after day, I feel like that someone other than the teacher needs to step in and control that. This is not fair to those kids who are there trying to learn and get an education, and it's definitely not good for their safety. So eventually, as I read on through the article, it was decided that because he was so far behind in his education, that he would be placed in a special needs class part of the time and in a regular class the other part, which he still was not cooperative in. In the March 27, 2015 edition online of Bright Hub Education by Finn Afano says that kids will display behavior that requires adult supervision. It may be anything such as the inability to move on from a certain topic that causes them frustration, their facial expressions, they may bite their nails, and may even have inappropriate language. Afano also states that when a child is acting out, that you should give them time and the opportunity to remove themselves rather than doing that for them. It also says that you can send them to a quiet place to allow time for them to cool down. You may have a one-on-one talk with the child, but again, if you have a classroom full of other students, where do you draw that line? Maybe after class, but that doesn't help what's going on during class. You also may take them to a counselor for a private one-on-one session. All of these were implemented in Billy's education plan. Now, there was another article in the Las Vegas Sun, July 13th, 2013 edition. Paul Takashi published an article that titled, "Special Needs Students' Classroom Outbursts Led to Classmates' Parents to Seek Restraining Order." In the article, it states that the child had been bullying another student, but the boy's outburst became so bad that the teacher created a safe haven word. She would inform students to leave during the episodes by using this one word. The article says that the parents tried working with school's leadership, but that their hands were pretty much tied under federal laws. You see, sometimes we label these kids as troublemakers without knowing for sure if this could be a true disorder and it just hasn't been diagnosed yet. And that was kind of the case in the article that I had read about Billy. Eventually, in the article, Billy goes on to a juvenile detention center. Now, would Billy have benefited from a tough love treatment, or would others benefit from that? Maybe, maybe not. Kind of hard to tell. But it is important for us as parents or even educators to see the warning signs early to hopefully implement the care and education style of each individual, that the child will have a successful care plan to have them to succeed in their education courses. Thank you.